Hey there, I'm John with Board Game Geek, and today we have John Paul from Gale Force 9 showing us Vault of Dragons. So why don't you tell us what this is all about?
So Vault of Dragons, D&D game set in the same setting as the Dragon Heist module. The difference between the Dragon Heist module that a character party will go through is that you are running around the city trying to find clues to find the Vault of Dragons where all this gold is stashed, because if you let the bad guys get it, bad things are going to happen. You can't let any of the factions.
Okay.
The board game is about playing as the four factions, so you are the bad guys running around trying to compete against each other. The Xanathar, led by the Goldfish fancying Beholder, Bragan Dieth, the Zentarum and Manchun, and the Castellantas, who are Asmodee devil-worshipping cult people who sold their children's soul and need the money to buy it back. So all very savoury characters.
Wonderful chaps.
Factions. The key to the game is the mechanic is moving around the city looking for clues, because the vault is somewhere in the city. Lord Neverember didn't explain where he left this pile of million gold dragons, which a dragon is a dragon and a dragon, so a gold dragon is a monetary unit.
Sure.
And you are using your faction members, of which you get fighters, thieves and wizards, and sending them out into the city to utilize the locations. When you're on a place alone and there's no competition, you'll be able to claim the reward and use the ability on the card. So here you would get a clue, and for 2 gold you could buy a treasure card.
Okay.
What you're aiming to do is build up your might so that your faction troops are then ready to go down into the Yawning Portal to look for the dragon's clearly not in a house somewhere in the city. He's in the Undermountain, and you've got to go and find him.
Sure. But
the dragon's a 20+ win victory. The best dice roll in the game is currently a wizard with a D12, which means you need +8 on your roll, which it's gear.
Right.
Gauntlet of Giant Ogre Power, a Wand of Secrets, a Clockwork Bird, and this comes from exploring, fighting with the other faction members. Anybody familiar with one of our earlier games, Sons of Anarchy? This city mechanic of your troops moving around, interacting with each other, stems from that.
Okay.
Locations on the board are double-sided, so when you lay out your game, each time it'll be 12 random tiles. The first time through, the ones with the dragon are your starting premise.
Sure.
But we will basically keep continuing to fight over sections, and either fight or just take control, accumulate resource. When you're seeing one of the other group get a bit big for their shoes, you should go over and reduce their faction troops down. You can always buy more troops, men at arms, spare wizards. They're all there's plenty of bad guys willing to work for you for the right loot. But the key is the timing of how many you need when you go down. Individually, a rogue will roll a d4, but always roll a damage dice. So he will always kill someone, even though his maximum score might only be a 4. When you roll off against each other, the higher score, no matter what dice, is going to win. But the amount of additional dice, so 2 warriors together will re-roll a d10, a wizard. And so there are limited numbers of faction troops, so where you place your 2 wizards is different to your 5 warriors and your 3 rogues, because sometimes you want to do casualties, and sometimes you simply want to overwhelm them with, we're going to roll so many dice with re-rolls you can't win.
Okay.
When you get a bloody nose, you will retreat back to somewhere vacant. But the lords of the city also have City Watch moving around the board. Fighting in an area is not good for business. The City Watch will come and then potentially deal with if you're in the adjacent square, or they'll just move around being a pain in the arse, getting in the way of the game.
Right.
When you're ready, when you think you're ready, which the game rarely ends with the first person down into the dungeon winning the game, because you tend to trip over yourself and how dungeoneering is supposed to be done.
Right.
You'd send your party into the Yawning Portal, paying the entrance fee, and there are 10 levels of the dungeon to explore. The 13+ is the maximum reward. When you say, my group is going down, you then flick it over, and there is a set of 20 of these, so each of the rewards for the first 2 levels vary. That is what you're going to do if you roll below a 7+. If you get a 7+, you'll get both rewards. If you get a 13+, you'll get all 3. Right. And as you complete it, it will give you one of the pieces of the clues to allow you to find the vault.
Sure.
First person who finds 3 can attempt the vault, what tends to happen quite comically is the first person tries, goes in, fails, and by failing makes it one easier for the next person. So like dungeoneering here, you go through and you might get a 7+. This tile will go away, but the next party along will get +1, and there'll be different looting because you've killed the goblins, you killed some bugbears, but you didn't kill the whatever was at the end. And you'll progressively move through this, and the reason you will be sending your faction guys down into the Undermountain is because you want loot. It's, you know, D&D's a wonderfully simple thing at its core, is that it's all about loot and how cool your loot is. And so when you're sufficiently equipped, you will attempt the dungeon and somebody will succeed. The game runs 90 minutes the first time through. Once you've got the flow of the mechanics, your actions, you have a set number of actions in a turn, which 4 or 5 will burn through quite quickly. You're either moving, recruiting, shopping, collecting some money. And each of the factions have a specific rule that fits with their background, so that Bregan the Earth can always hire rogues. The Drow have got plenty of rogues. The Xanathar, he's good at money and clues. The Zentarum and the Castellantas. So each of them play slightly differently, but the fundamental mechanics are the same as you're playing through. But it's in market now. It dropped just after Christmas.
Okay.
There is a Blessing of the Gods expansion coming, which adds clerics to the game over the summer. So you'll get cleric models, a D8. There's some new locations, some new magic items, all cleric themed. Clerics allow you to heal rather than negate damage.
That makes sense.
Instead of your wizard, who's obviously your fireball specialist, your glass cannon. So yeah, that's Vault of Dragons.
Awesome. Well, thank you for showing us Vault of Dragons, and thanks for coming on, John Paul.
A pleasure.